To start the show like this, I thought it'd be funny or at least interesting to talk about the latest news in the NBA. It is January 9th, 9 a.m. Welcome. But no, what I wanted to talk about was specifically, I also forget that the pod is just for members. But no, what I wanted to specifically talk about was Hamidou Diallo, who just recently got signed by, yes, the Washington Wizards on a 10-day contract as he is going to get himself an opportunity. So let's get right into that today. And I want to hear your guys' opinions. What do you guys expect and why? I definitely think it's going to be an interesting, not turn of events, but it could be an interesting arc for our man Hamidu. So I want to hear you guys' thoughts down below. So let's get right into that news and what we're specifically hearing, and it's coming from Shams Charania. The news is Hamidou Diallo, NBA dunk champion, a guy who's played for the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Detroit Pistons. 5-year NBA veteran Hamidou Diallo, who's an insane defender, who's averaging 18.6 points so far a game for the Capital City Go-Go, the G League affiliate of the Washington Wizards, is signing, yes, a 10-day contract to, basically earn himself an opportunity on the roster. They did just waive Mr. Ryan Rollins. Yes, the reason why they waived Ryan Rollins after appearing 10 games and they're eating his $1.7 million and dead salary this season and 600,000 next year is because they opened up one roster spot, which allowed them to bring in Hamidou Diallo. And Hamidou Diallo is a guy who a few seasons ago was a 12 points per game scorer almost. Literally in 2020 to 21, he was 11.5, and then in 21 to 22, he was 11 points. And he's a guy that, for his career is 27. It's really the three-point shot that's kept him from ever becoming a impactful NBA player, even though he's a guy who does have skill and has the ability. So this guy is an elite athlete, all right, an elite athlete, second to none. And he's got decent size, being 6'5" with a 7-foot wingspan. He's improved on offense, except shooting wise. But he's kind of like a shorter version of Derrick Jones Jr., and I think there's a place for him in the NBA. It's just a matter of, can he provide a team like the Wizards? They're young, they need some depth at the wing position. But also, he'll teach Bilal Coulibaly what not to do, because as much as I love Bilal Coulibaly, Hamidou Diallo's worst case scenario of what Bilal could become. So for me, I feel like this is a situation where if I'm the Wizards, I think this is a good situation for us to take a chance on a guy who still has hella potential because of his athleticism, while also mitigating the risk of him being of them, he'll still be on their team, their G League team, if it doesn't work out. It sucks that basically they had to give up on Ryan Rollins for this to happen. But it is what it is. That's the NBA for you guys. And that's where I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Do you think he'll be able to break into the rotations? There's Denny Avdia, Corey Kesper, and the rest of the boys who are there. And I know that the Wizards do have, their current injuries are also, he has a 7-foot wingspan. The Wizards' current injury status is no injuries of like significance. We're 6-30. So that's always fantastic. Now, is this going to be something that is going to say? This is just trying to save Hamidou Diallo's career. So I think it's smart that the Washington Wizards sign Hamidou Diallo to a 10-day. But I'm also like 100% aware that Hamidou Diallo is going to need to do a lot to really stand out, or make an impact that we go, hey, we need this guy on the team. Because right now, if I'm going to be honest, he's not necessarily moving the needle, even though he's too good for the G. That's apparent. This is his last shot, maybe next year, and if he doesn't get it, he'll probably end up in Europe, which is, again, nothing wrong with it. People don't realize that you have a window, and if you don't get the window when it's there, the NBA will move on from you very quickly. And you don't get the money that you get in the NBA as quick as you do overseas. So that's just one thing I want people to know. It's like a lot of people are being like, "Oh, why don't you just go overseas, dude? It might take you 6 years to get that six-figure deal you want. Okay, it won't happen the first year. So that's something people need to learn." But yeah, that's there, and I'm excited to see if he'll make an impact with the team right now, if he will be able to, or they're gonna just push him around. But I like the news. I think it's a good signing. I mean, again, I'm a fan of Community Doll. I'm a fan of the Washington Wizards, so I'm glad that they were able to go out and get somebody that's going to be worthy of the rotation. But let me hear your guys' thoughts. What do you guys expect from Hamidou Diallo? Do you think he's going to be a guy who's going to be able to, you know, provide the Wizards with some depth, or do you think this is just a one of those signings that they just test and it's just not going to work out? I think it could, but again, it's all if Hamidou wants to do it or not. I mean, he is the guy that's holding his future. But we'll talk about some other stuff right now. Let me hear your opinions down below. What you guys think of that signing? And yeah, no, we're going to talk about today the Toronto Raptors and the Golden State Warriors, two teams that I think are having very interesting years, as they are two teams that one's going into kind of a retooling while the other one's trying to keep their championship window open as it's closing. So we can understand that the anxiety that the Warriors are going through as some of the things that we're going to talk about today. And then, of course, let's look at the rest of the NBA stuff that we want to talk. Ja Morant is out for the season with a shoulder surgery. Yes, if you guys have not been following, Mr. Ja Morant is out for the season. He suffered a labral tear after having a subluxation of the shoulder the other night, and then he went and got it checked, and it turned out that he had a labral tear. So he's going to be out for the rest of the year. Unfortunately, he's a guy that many people like myself were a big fan of. And yeah, it's just kind of those things where you look at it and you're like, all right, what are we going to do or how? And Ja's a guy who everybody's a fan of, but I think this is that kind of wash year that you get when your star player gets hurt and you get a gap year that you can get a top draft pick, develop the players, and it's not going to be as bad as people are going to make it out to be. So Ja Morant is undergoing season-ending labral surgery. He's expected to make a full recovery ahead of the 24 to 25 season. After Saturday's training session, or during a training session, Morant suffered a subluxation of his right shoulder following some soreness and instability. He went on an MRI that showed, a labral tear. And this is unfortunate because he had just returned from a 25 game suspension. So I think that's definitely something of interest. And yeah, no, I think it was definitely interesting to see how that all was played. But for me, my biggest question has always been how or what are they going to do now? But maybe that's just me and my thinking. I want to hear your guys's. So let's continue moving down through the list. Tyrese Halliburton literally, I saw this live, literally split his pants as I crap mine, split his legs after doing a split when he drove to the basket. And entering Monday night, Tyrese Halliburton was averaging a team high 24 points and a league high 12.7 assists across 32 games. And after doing that split, we assumed the worst, but it turned out that after receiving an MRI, he was diagnosed with a left hamstring strain. Similarly, Kay Cunningham is missing only a few games after avoiding serious knee injury, according to James L. Edwards and Shop running at The Athletic. And then last night, KD said he was appreciative of the years with Russ and Harden in the Thunder. Draymond Green was talked out of retirement by Adam Silver, which I think was a ploy to get his podcast numbers up. And Dennis Schroeder, this is something we'll talk about later. We'll talk about Dennis Schroeder. But Lakers signed Skylar Mails, and we talked about Wizards waiving Mr. Ryan Rowland. Josh Christopher was waived while the Jazz agreed to Jason Preston to a two-way. And Darvin Ham has strong support from the front office of the Los Angeles Lakers. Is that the latest news that we know around the league collectively? And we have a man by the name of Jackson. How are you doing today, bud?
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, are you?
I'm doing fine. So Jalen Brunson and one other guy was named Player of the Week. You want to hear who's the other man?
Penguin.
Huh?
Penguin.
Yep. Alperen Şengün averaged 24.7 rebounds and 4.5 assists as the Rockets went 3-1 last week, while Brunson averaged 27 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 9.5 assists as the New York Knicks went 4-0. Penguin's been having a great game. Is there a reason why they call him Penguin? Is it Şengün? Because Şengün and Penguin kind of look the same?
So it's just nobody calls him that. It's just
Oh, oh.
my roommate used to.
I genuinely thought people did, and I was just like, oh, okay, word.
Penguin Sengun.
So I kind of touched on this literally right before you came, and I think it's only proper that we go back because we were just there. But Ja Morant out for the season. I say this could actually be something that works out really well for them, similar to the year that the Warriors were really bad when Steph Curry got hurt and they ended up with the second pick. We all know what happened. They chose James Wiseman. But in this case, the Grizzlies could very much benefit from being able to develop their young talent this season, with Ja Morant now being out for the season after suffering a subluxation to his shoulder and it revealing that there was a labral tear, that this team could end up very much benefiting from developing David Roddy, Santiago Alama, Jake LaRavia, et cetera, and getting a top draft pick and bringing reinforcements and drafting maybe an NBA ready guy in the draft, like like how he got Jaime Jaquez, but like Kevin McCullough. What is your thoughts and was your initial reaction when you saw John Morant after the season?
Well, my initial reaction was I wanted to jump off a cliff because I held this dude for like 2 months in fantasy basketball with no IL
Ooh,
spot.
ooh.
And he comes back for 7 games and he lights it up. The
I
dude
did.
was a stud.
I had a similar situation with Cooper Cup, and he was still hurt. But then I traded Cooper Cup for fucking a running back, and he still hadn't came back, and I felt good about that. But I feel you, different sport. But continue. So initial reaction.
I mean, their season was wasted anyways. All the injuries, Steven Adams, Brandon Clark. So I don't think they have much young talent to develop, but they'll get a nice draft pick and hopefully not take James Wiseman. But yeah, I agree. I worry about the shoulder injury on a
He doesn't really
shooting
shoot.
arm.
I guess it is on the shooting arm, but I was gonna be like, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
that's a
not.
big deal.
It is a
He'll
big.
probably have to change his shot potentially.
It's a labral tear, so it's just right here.
That's not good.
It's not the
It's
worst.
not good.
It's not the worst. So it's not as bad as Markel Fultz. Markel Fultz had like from the BMX accident, it caused nerve damage, which was like the whole problem for him. John Morant, I'm not worried about the shoulder surgery. At the same time, I wonder how much could if he came back this season. Let's say if they had a winning record, could if he came back and they all just agreed to be like, hey, this season sucks. You could come back, but you would come back in April or March, and it would just be in our best interest if we just said, fuck this season, tanked, got a good draft pick, maybe use that pick to trade for somebody or draft somebody of use. Because a labral tear does not take this long to recover from. Do you think that's reasonable? What I kind of
I'm not a doctor, so I don't know.
now he's not a fucking doctor. I'm
I'm
trying
just
Google a
saying.
quick Google search will tell you the recovery time, bud.
I doubt it's 2 months.
Uh, labral labral tear shoulder recovery time 4 to 6 months. Wow. Okay. I guess he is out for the season. Yes, he is. But it says 3 months. 3 months sometimes. Full. It's 4. So he could be quick as April. But he ain't Aaron Rodgers.
No, he's not. He's not immunized.
He's not immunized. Maybe he is immunized. Dude, all my comments on my video yesterday were like, okay, well he'll show up in a month with a gun in his hand.
Oh my.
I was like,
Why is he
damn.
doing that?
No, it's a joke that whenever he has time off.
I don't get it.
Ja Morant got busted for a gun twice.
Yeah, why is he coming back with a gun in a month?
No, they're saying that they're gonna catch him in a month with a gun in his hand.
Oh,
You made that joke on funny.
I don't think it was funny to begin with.
It was funnier than you. Let's go into and talk about the Golden State Warriors. Or is their season over? Uh,
Somebody tear a labrum?
no. I drank my coffee too quick and now my stomach hurts. So the Golden State Warriors are 17 to 19, 12th in the West, and they are the 11th best offense in the league, 22nd best defense, while having a net rating of positive 0.2, which is 17th in the league. They are 15th in the league with a 37% three-point percentage as a team. Chris Paul's out for the next month or so with that hand injury. They have Klay Thompson averaging 17, Curry averaging 27, 9 from Paul, 12 from Wiggins, almost 10 from Green, 9 from B-Pod, 13 from Jonathan Kuminga, 10.5 from Dario Saric, Kevon Looney, 5.5. Then Moses Moody and Gary Payne II, and Trace Jackson Davis. What's your initial thoughts? Let me hear it from you, the in-house Warriors fan, Jackson.
Hear what?
Your
What's the
opinion.
question?
Your opinion on the Warriors.
Oh, I'm excited to get Draymond Green back on Thursday or Friday. I can't wait. Well, you know my thoughts on not playing Kuminga.
Just give us your thoughts on the season as a whole. What do you expect from them at this point? Is it a wrap? Is it a wash? Can they turn it around? And what any gripes you have? Let me know
Yeah,
here.
it's a wrap. They should blow it all up. It does feel like the end, but I don't think the end's here yet. I don't think Kuminga gets traded. I think they need size. My buddy doesn't think they need size. Who's a Warriors fan, but I don't know what the hell he's watching. They're just too small. I think they're too small.
So Wendell
I
Carter,
just need my I just need the young players to develop very quickly, which
is Steve Kerr not a
some nights
developer?
some nights it looks like it's trending in the right direction, and then Steve Kerr will give Moody like 3 DMPs.
That is very true. My whole thing with this team is I mean Wendell Carter Jr. is supposedly available for trade, so I think they should go out and try to get that. But I think my whole gripe with this team is they're so stubborn to move on from the young guys, like you said, that who need to develop. And guys, it's 3 years. It's been 2.5 years. They have it clicked. They haven't figured it out. Yeah, they won a championship with the young dudes, but those young dudes weren't playing. Young dudes didn't work out. Time to trade those young dudes for proven vets. The championship window's closing. The two timelines didn't work out. If anything, you're wasting Steph Curry's last prime years. And it's rather unfortunate because I don't think Steve Kerr is a developer of talent, is what we're learning. And it's not weird, but it's like, I don't think any of us really, I think we gave Kerr too much credit for Curry and Thompson's development and then like the rest of the guys on the rosters. But then you really start to think about it, and everyone that Kerr's coached was already established and kind of like, and even the young dudes that they ever played, they only played like 10 minutes. It wasn't like they were relying on those guys. So I think the big problem is they have a win now coach coaching players that needed to be nurtured when they weren't in a nurturing environment.
Who?
Hence, Jonathan Kuminga, James Wiseman, Moses Moody, the young dudes. You know?
I don't, no, I don't agree, but
Let me hear your thoughts. What do you disagree with?
well, they're just not the young dudes just aren't ready to win
That's what I'm saying.
a championship.
Well, they're not ready to play minutes, and they weren't developed. They weren't nurtured by Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr didn't develop them. And the
I
thing,
mean,
and
Moody played like 9 minutes in the NBA Finals
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
as a rookie.
I know, and I said that. But that's
Good nurturing.
only 9 minutes a night. There was Otto Porter,
Hey,
Gary
he's a
Payton.
rookie.
I know, but what I'm saying is, like, we acted like that was so big, okay? But turns out it was a fugazi, and we gave Steve Kerr all this credit for being a talent developer when we realized Klay Thompson and Draymond Green and Curry were developed by Mark Jackson. And then all the other vets, you think about those championship teams were all established guys who were in the primes of their careers or nearing the end of their primes. And the young guys, the Omari Spellmans, the Ian Clarks, the Patrick McCaws, Jordan Bells, where are they? Where are they? They didn't work out either. And they played in the finals as rookies, but very limited minutes, just garbage time minutes or breather minutes where they put Moody in for 1 minute, Jordan Bell for 2 minutes so they could give Draymond or, whoever the center was at the time, because they had so many centers over the last 10 years. So that's where I'm realizing, you start to realize, damn, like they never really developed guys. Besides Kevon Looney. Tell me one guy that's stuck around. Homegrown. You know? That Kerr. That
The whole
Kerr.
team.
No, that Kerr. That Kerr. The only guy we could say Steve Kerr from drafting to now is Kevon Looney. No one else on this roster was there. Curry, Thompson, and Green all had a few seasons under Mark Jackson. Maybe you could say
I mean,
Gary.
this is like over 10 years ago. I don't know if that's like the most fair.
But I'm just saying.
Who stays with a team for their entire career? Not many.
I know, but like even the guys from the last championship.
I think it's a reach. I don't really.
Let's go back to the last championship.
I still don't see the. I don't see the point.
All right, right here. First off, Jordan Poole, I guess he's a success story, but like you look at Damian Lee, gone. Jordan Poole, gone. Andre Iguodala, Gary Payton, still there, but like I guess Juan Toscano was kind of a homegrown, but even Juan's only playing 14 minutes a night. Like the thing is you think about these guys, like look how like far down in the rotation they were compared to now. And I think that's the big problem because you got yourself here in his prime, 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 in his prime. You have multiple players, like at least 7 or 8 guys who are still in the primes of their careers. I think that's a big difference here.
I think you're reaching.
You do?
Warriors will be fine. They'll probably have to trade Camino.
What's your expectation for the season at this point?
NBA Finals ring.
Seriously?
Yeah.
You're lying.
No,
I don't believe you.
They have 4 championship rings in the last 10 years.
Yeah, and they're below 500.
I'll use this. You're not worried about the shit Suns. Shit Suns are almost below 500.
I'd have this. I am worried about the Suns. I've started selling shares in the Suns on them. Okay, I won't sit here and be like, oh, it's all pixies and roses. No, the Suns are kind of fucked, and I've started selling shares in the Suns and buying stock in the Clippers. which wasn't the best, but we're here. Now, I think as we look at this team, Adam Silver had to talk Draymond Green out of retirement, which I think is absurd. Do you agree with me that this is a ploy?
No.
I think it is, because during a new podcast episode, yeah, you got to listen to the podcast to hear this. Draymond Green claims Adam Silver talked him out of the idea of retiring from the NBA following his hit on Yusuf Nurkic. Green was indefinitely suspended by the NBA following the incident, saying that it was too much. And that after undergoing counseling, the NBA reinstated him on Saturday. They're ramping him up. He's expected to play next week. He's in the first year of that 4-year, $100 million deal. I don't think he was going to retire. This is like LeBron James when he lost the Western Conference Finals. They want to control the narrative. They want to make sure people are talking about them the way that they want to be talked about. And I think this was all just to get those podcast numbers up and to control the narrative. I don't think he was ever going to retire because Draymond Green wouldn't do that. Why? Because he loves himself too much. And he's only going to leave this game when he can't be an asshole anymore. And he can still be an asshole. And it's just all that's going to happen is you're just going to have to be more creative about it. You just can't hit people. What is your thoughts on Draymond Green coming back? Is this what they need? Is this going to help turn their season around? And do you expect them to be a play-in or a playoff team? Jackson, let me hear your thoughts about this as we close up this Golden State Warriors segment.
I think you and most, just about everybody on basketball Twitter, are pussy faggots. And I don't think they'd ever understand the level of passion that Draymond Green has for basketball.
That's why I don't think he's
and
retiring.
His career.
That's why I don't think he's retiring.
And a 4-time NBA champion to boost his podcast numbers. Like, give me a break. I'm not even gonna comment on that.
I think it's fake. Like, it's not even just to boost the podcast numbers. It says to control the narrative. Okay.
None of that matters.
It does. It does. It does.
None of that matters except to NBA journalists, I believe. Reaching for a story.
No, it's called having a publicist. This is called all this wouldn't be fucking Draymond Green's not the one who's thinking of this. Draymond Green has a team. Every athlete, or I wouldn't say every athlete that has a brand behind them has a publicist. And the publicist is going to tell, like, publicists probably looked at Draymond Green coming back from suspension as, like, dollar signs. Like, hey, we could benefit from this. This is just smart. Like, I mean, you did advertising. This is a great advertising moment. You're being searched up. So why not, take advantage of people already searching your name to you create the storyline. Nobody created this storyline. Draymond Green created the storyline, which is the best type because he's controlling the narrative. He spun the narrative. He put the narrative out there for people to write, which on him is great. Kudos. I'm just saying. The thing about the podcast numbers is more of a joke, which there's probably some vindication. They're not vindication. There's probably some credibility behind that, but it's more, I think, the whole him wanting to control his own narrative. Just the numbers going up are probably a benefit of that because you couldn't.
He hasn't controlled the narrative all suspension though, because you got absolute nerds who weigh 280 pounds saying this dude should just be like straight up kicked out of the league. Just kick him out of the league.
Exactly.
Like, we're sick of his shenanigans. Just kick him out of the league.
You just explained my point to a T. You said there's other people who've been talking about him all suspension. He didn't talk during suspension. He kept quiet. So the day that he does come back from suspension, he's the one putting out his own narrative. And if you want to hear that narrative, you got to go click on his podcast. It's genius. It's absolutely genius. It's incredible marketing on his part. And now, Draymond didn't talk when he got suspended. He could have gone on a media tour if he wanted. He didn't. And the first time you've heard Draymond speak since he punched Yusuf Nurkic in the face was through a podcast. It's quite genius. He's the one controlling the narrative. He's the one who's talking. He's not talking to anyone. No one's asking him questions. He's answering and asking his own questions to himself. So at the end of the day, I think that's where it's it's smart on his part because whatever he wanted the public to think of him, he put that out there. And in a way, you could say now there's some sympathy for him. And he controlled that. He's the one who spun that. Similarly, how LeBron, when he lost the Western Conference Finals, what do we talk about? The team that advanced to the Western Conference Finals, the Nuggets, or do we talk about the Lakers who might be losing LeBron James? We're not talking about as much the Warriors being below 500, more so that they're getting back a guy who almost retired mid-season.
I think all of those are reaches.
I don't think the reach is
Each and every one.
it's not a reach. It's just connecting dots. I don't. A reach would be like he's doing this so he can make sure that he puts pressure on the front office to make a move because the Draymond years are winding down. I feel like that would be a reach.
No, because I don't think that makes any sense.
What him? Well, the whole retirement thing last year for LeBron was so you could put pressure on the front office. That would be a similar thing. I could say that Draymond Green was using this retirement to put pressure on the front office, which I personally think is a reach because the front office would tell Draymond Green to like, okay, you're Draymond, bud. You're a third. So that's just my thought. But either way, let's go over to the Toronto Raptors. Toronto Raptors are basically middle of the pack, just outside the. They're a game and half a game back from the 10th seed, full game behind the ninth seed to be in the play-in. They are currently 17-17 on their offensive and defensive rating. They're minus 0.7. 19th ranked for net rating. They're currently led by Pascal Siakam, who is rumored to be expected to be traded. Pascal Siakam was deep into talks with the Sacramento Kings. Sacramento Kings pulled out of the trade talks because the Kings wanted supposedly it was around Harrison Barnes. The assets that the Kings were offering weren't what the Raptors wanted, and Pascal Siakam was not offered a max. So what we're seeing right here, RJ Barrett through 4 games is a 21 point per game scorer, shooting 40-40, while Pascal Siakam 22, Scotty Barnes 20.5. You got Dennis Schroeder dropping 15 tonight, Jakob Poeltl with 11, Gary Trent with 11, and you got Chris Boucher with 6. And then you got yourself Grady Dick, Otto Porter, Jonte Porter, Jalen McDaniels, all mixed in there. Darko Rajakovic has a team that has a lot of ball movement, and they're a team that likes to score more inside than they do from the outside. They're not the best three-point shooting team. What is your thoughts with the Raptors? They're kind of in this weird retooling year where they're like in the midst of like, I think, changing of eras. This is becoming the Scotty Barnes era. What's your thoughts on the Raptors this year? Are they a play-in team, or do you think they should just tank it? I personally think they should just tank it, but I think they're shooting for the play-in.
I mean, yeah, I guess that works. I think Darko was the wrong hire.
Why so?
Siakam was about to be traded. OG already got traded. RJ's RJ's cool in Toronto.
Why
I don't have
was
any new opinions on the Raptors.
why was Darko Rajakovic the wrong hire?
They're 15-21.
Yeah, but they're like in a weird year. I also think Masai Ujiri is more of the problem. So I think we're figuring out this team. Yeah, Dennis Schroeder, we've heard, isn't happy about what's going on with the Raps. He signed with this offseason with the idea of being the starting point guard after coming off the bench for the Lakers and the Celtics in the previous year. And Darko Rajakovic said it in a quote, Dennis brings a lot of energy to everything that we do. He's trying to play the right way on the offensive end. He's very disruptive defensively. His mentality, his force is something that really rubs off on our guys very well. End quote, said Raptors head coach Darko Rajakovic. And Schroeder, who's willing to make his new role work off the bench, is averaging 15 points, 5 assists in the last 4 games. Now, I think this team, they should just move on from Pascal Siakam. They can't let the Fred VanVleet situation happen again. I think RJ Barrett was a great pickup. Gary Trent's a guy that they definitely should move on. Chris Boucher, Thad Young. Let's just go call this year a wrap. Let's move on from all the older guys. Let's move ahead with the Pascal Siakam. Move ahead with the Pascal Siakam trade. And let's start the new era of the Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett. Emmanuel Quickley is also averaging 17.5 points on 40% from the field, 41.5% from three so far. He Quickley, Barnes, and RJ Barrett are your 1, 2s, and 3s right there, basically. All you got to figure out, and you have your center in Jakob Poeltl. So all you got to do now is find your power forward. And one could argue, could that power forward be on the roster? I don't know, unless you think like a guy like Gary, not Gary, but like not Grady Dick, my apology, could slide in with RJ Barrett, and RJ Barrett either be a 4 or something like that, which I don't know if will work. But I think this team, there's a lot to do. They're in a weird gap here. I think it'd be in the best interest, similar to the Memphis Grizzlies that we talked about earlier, that you go ahead, you take this as like a sabbatical year, you try to get a decent lottery pick, you move on from the older guys and their contracts, you bring in younger guys, maybe some reclamation projects. Like honestly, if you call up, I think the Warriors, you can get Andrew Wiggins in a pick and maybe one of the young guys like Moses Moody in that deal, or Jonathan Kuminga, or both, something along those lines, I think it would be really good. Do you think they should trade the guys, or would you keep the bets, Jackson?
Like who other than Siakam?
Chris Boucher, Thad Young, Gary Trent. Otto Porter as well.
I mean, yeah, Boucher's probably gone, but
I think the other two probably don't. Gary Trent probably has some trade value. I don't know if Thad Young has trade value. Thad Young might not have trade value.
Gary Trent's probably a Laker.
I saw a Laker trade for Gary Trent and DeJounte Murray in a 3-team with the Hawks and Lakers. I forget. I think the Lakers send D'Lo to the Raps, Gary Trent to the Lakers, and then DeJounte Murray is for Rui Hachimura and Gabe Vincent, I think is the deal. And then obviously picks sprinkled around, like whatever.
Yeah.
What do you think of that one? I think that's not bad. Rui and Gabe for DeJounte, and probably like a first going that way. DeJounte goes to LA, and then D'Lo and some seconds or something for Gary.
Sign me up.
I mean, obviously we know the Lakers win that trade, but I think if I'm a Hawks fan, I get 2 players, and then with the Raps, I get D'Lo and Schroeder, who fit really well and Quickly, who fit really well next to Scotty Barnes and RJ Barrett. I don't think it's that bad. So
there's a lot to process non-visually, but yeah, I like Gary to the Lakers. Siakam's going. Thad, you're right. Probably has nothing, but probably chip in.
Do you think they're a play-in team or a playoff team?
I mean, they'll hover around the play-in, and Scotty Roy is really good, and they'll hover there. I don't know. What are the Bulls in it? The Bulls will probably choke, and the Raptors will slip in there. But that's the issue with the play-in is if you're a team like the Raptors and you make it every year, and then you just to lose, or if you get out of it just to lose in 5 in the first round of the playoffs, it's just they're stuck in this weird middle ground. I think getting off of Fred was needed, and
I wish they had gotten compensation.
They got compensation for OG. They'll get it for Siakam. I mean, I don't know I know Fred's contract's fat, but I don't really know what legitimate trade value he has. So it is what it is. I know what you mean, but they didn't. Sky Barnes is the future, and that's the good thing.
No, I'm in agreement.
They got RJ, IQ. We got some fun players.
I'm in agreement. The other thing is like, I wish we were able to. Okay. So you said a visual representation would help. I didn't put any picks, but this is what the deal would look like. In theory, Rui Hachimura and Jalen Hood-Schifino to the Hawks. Gary Trent and DeJounte Murray to the Lakers. And I want to adjust this actually. D'Angelo Russell and Max Christie to the Raptors. There we go. I feel like that's more of a realistic trade. This way, the Lakers don't have to give up as many picks because they would argue that they gave up two really good guys and Jalen Hood and Max Christie. What is your thoughts initially of this deal? I think this makes the Lakers definitely contenders.
This is way too much for Gary Trent Jr., but it's a close enough representation. I don't think
You don't think
Jalen
D'Lo's a negative?
No, I don't think Jalen would be in there. I don't think Christie would be in there.
I'm hearing
I
that.
really hope they're not.
I'm hearing in a DeJounte Murray trade, it's probably going to be
Yeah, DeJounte's fine.
For a DeJounte Murray deal, they're saying it's going to be salary filler, one of the young players, and a pick.
Yeah. For DeJounte, that's perfectly fine. I'm willing to do that. But for Gary,
That's where
like I said, I think the trade is still the right idea.
Okay. I feel like the Raptors win here too. Like regardless, let's say like I get that you're saying it's too much, but like Raptors here, they get another ball handler who's under contract, so they have like a D'Lo, Dennis Schroeder backcourt with Emmanuel Quickly there too, which is kind of cool. That works really well next to Scotty Barnes. I think this works for the Raptors to continue the Scotty Barnes era. Okay, while the Hawks, they get to move off of DeJounte Murray and they probably get a pick and they recuperate some of the assets that they gave up.
Yeah, true.
I'm not.
Gary Trent.
What?
I feel like anything they trade for Gary Trent Jr. will be considered a success. I don't know what on earth is going on with that dude this season.
I think it's Darko Rajakovic doesn't help, and
he's shooting 65% from the free throw line though. Like
I know. I was about to say. I also think Nick Nurse inflated his stats because Nick Nurse would play him like 35 minutes, 40 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
You know.
Yeah, 26 minutes. I feel like he should be averaging more than 11, but I know what you mean. Well, it's just crazy. This dude, when he first came to Toronto,
he's taking only 10 shots, and he had a 3-year run where he was taking almost 16 shots a game.
Yeah.
So he's taking 6 less shots a game, and I think that's Darko Rajakovic telling him, don't shoot as much.
My Duke legend.
He also went from 3.5 free throws a game to 1 free throw a game this year. So he's not even getting free throws.
Just get him a ring.
Yeah.
Give him the Lake Show.
All right, Pirtle. That's Jay Crowder or Montrezl Harrell. Isaiah Stewart? Ooh, wait, it's East, though. Who the fuck has his hair?
Jimmy Butler.
But he's a front court player.
Oh, Amani Bates? No,
that's not Central. I'm trying to think of somebody. I'm just gonna type this in just to get a different conference. Okay, he's in the Atlantic. Oh, he's on the Sixers.
That's not Trez?
I thought they cut him. Right? They cut Trez. It is Trez. But, like, look at this. This is...
How's that dude not 30?
That's insane. Look.
How is he 29 years old?
That's insane. First off. Also, I always forget he's only 6'7".
Yeah, that is rather small. That's actually so small. I would have guessed at least 6'9".
You thought it was 6'9"? Yeah, so did I. I guess it's... Dude, that was 5 years ago when he fucking won Sixth Man of the Year.
Oh, that feels way longer.
This is insane to think about.
It feels like so long ago, actually.
Yeah. He was so bad for the fucking Wizards,
Well, his career ever since
the Lakers. Lakers ruined
yeah,
it. The Lakers ruined it, bro.
it's just been weird.
Well, I
It's just
think
like super
so.
random.
Everyone realized was he was an undersized sixth man who played center, who was like an insane post scorer, but he didn't space the floor. He was a terrible defender, and he wasn't necessarily the most athletic guy. You know what I mean? So then, like when he got hurt multiple years in a row, and I think everyone was just like, "Well, he had a good run."
Yeah, he's in a tough era.
Yeah. So I think that's what personally happened in my opinion.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, it rather was.
Bring him back to Houston. We'll
He's
rejuvenate him.
I mean, Jock Landale's been surprising. I don't even know if that's because Emma Udoka is racist,
No.
but like I like Jock Landale, and he was really good for the Suns last year. Like really good, dude. He's shooting 35% for you guys.
I think it's just a Daniel Tice situation again. Just didn't work out.
Yeah, dude. Wasn't that with you guys when Daniel Tice was absolutely horrible?
It was so bad.
Yeah, but like Daniel Tice has
It
never.
was so bad.
But the weird thing is Daniel Tice has never been that bad ever again, or
And he,
before.
yeah, and he never will be. I know exactly. That's what I'm saying. I think Jacques
It's a
is
similar
just
situation.
another Daniel Tice
Just
where it just doesn't work out.
Houston just doesn't work for the foreign bigs.
As Shangoon is our
Well, I'm talking about backup foreign bigs, the backup foreign bigs.
yeah, I guess so.
Damn, dude.
I don't know.
I didn't. Yeah,
I'm
it's
try to be hopeful still, but we're getting close to the deadline. I think he's gone. I think he'll be in that. I think he'll be in like a depot trade.
so one thing I want to talk about before we go, because I do need to use the bathroom. The Oklahoma City Thunder, John Hollinger wrote an article. Have a ride. Their championship window is opening, and he says that it's probably in their best interest, like this trade deadline, the earliest, maybe if not this offseason, to use their least valuable draft picks to maybe trade for a star. Because Chet right now is a really good third option, but they don't have a number two next to Shea. Would you go out and trade for one like the Jeremy Grant, the Lowry Markkinen?
Oh,
I would trade for Lowry. Imagine Lowry on this team. Or would you trade for DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine? Would you make a trade for a superstar, either this deadline, not a superstar, an all-star, a second guy to be the running mate to Shea, either this deadline or this offseason with your least valuable draft picks?
yeah. I mean, yeah, I want to bolster up Lou Dort.
What do you mean? What do
Uh,
you mean bolster up?
like I want to improve that position.
Yeah, so like I'm saying, like, would you here? Let me read you off 10 players.
Well,
Off,
the issue is Jane Williams is the second highest scorer on the team, and like,
but imagine if you go out and you get yourself a Kyle Kuzma or
but
a
but I don't even know. My issue is I don't even know what Jalen Williams is or isn't. But yeah, I guess a three like Kuz. I don't know though, because I want the ball. Like
or
Jalen Williams averaging,
Dejounte Murray.
yeah, Jalen Williams averaging 18 points a game on 54% from the field and 44% from downtown. Like we knew Jalen Williams was good.
Yeah, you know he's gonna be
But he's
like
playing like a. I mean,
yeah,
he's playing like he could be a like many time All Star right now, and I only worry that it might be too early. If you get the wrong guy, that's just going to completely derail a lot that you've already built. But yeah,
yeah.
let's hear the list.
So the list right here: Kyle Kuzma, Gary Trent Jr., Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, Evan Fournier, Jonathan Kuminga, Donovan
Oh,
Mitchell, Dejounte Murray, Zach LaVine, Pascal Siakam. I'm still reading. These are all the players that have had trade rumors so far this season. Who else is on that list? Lowry Markkinen, as well as freaking. Did I say DeMar DeRozan already?
I don't know.
DeMar DeRozan, and I believe
If I can fly.
that should be basically everyone that could be available. If there was anybody I missed, it could maybe be Julius Randle. There's been rumors. But I mean, I'm thinking that if you could get like Pascal Siakam, Lauri Markkanen, do you think that puts you like this season? If you gave up, because they have like they could package Davis Bertans, Alexei Pokusevski, Trey Mann, and like four or five of their least valuable picks, and like bring in one of these stars. Would you do that?
Um,
They have
I
like
don't know
30
why I
draft.
don't really like it. I don't really like the idea of Lowry. I like the idea of Siakam, but
Siakam, yeah, whatever. Like I think a power
I
forward who could
I
score.
still think Mikal Bridges ends up a Thunder.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Why?
I
You
don't
don't think
because
they?
the Nets
You
the
think
Nets
that
are stuck. They need a franchise player.
you don't believe he can be the guy to build around? Even though like a week ago they did
I mean,
say
he's showing us right now that he isn't,
that's true.
and that's not shade to him. It's just
The fact.
he's not a 26 point per game scorer. That's perfectly fine. I think he would just. I think Brooklyn should realize that they're not going to win a championship this year, and um, I think OKC is perfect for Mikal Bridges. I think he'd be like their KD.
I agree. I agree.
But yeah, Siakam, Lowry.
Demar.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere though. So Kuz is interesting.
Kuz would be interesting,
I don't really
but
need Kuz, I don't
but
think.
the thing is I feel like the Wizards are holding Kuz like they basically are asking for like 3 first round picks as starting talks.
Yeah, so he can stay in Washington.
Yeah, it's just because Kuz is on such a nice contract.
Mm.
It's like
Well, they're already the Thunder are like 24-10, and they're like they're gonna compete for a championship this year. Could you imagine you check your phone and you see they got Lauri Markkanen or Pascal Siakam or Mikal Bridges?
I'd be mind
That'd be
blown.
insane.
That'd be insane. Like
Their future is here. That I'd love to. Man, what a good time to be a Thunder fan.
it is a really good time to be a Thunder fan. Like Chet's like not like Chet's gonna clearly be the number two guy, but he's like a year away from being like or 2 years away from being like the 25 points per game scorer. So it is pretty incredible to see where what
25.
you don't think he'll be a 25 guy?
No.
Okay, maybe I'm overzealous.
22, 23.
Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah. J Dub looks like he could do 20. Looks like he can be 20 a year. Scary team, giddy up. Beats the allegations.
Oh, first off, Giddy's like shooting 40% from three on like
Here we go.
on like
He's
four
been
attempts.
stepping up, I think, since those that storyline dropped. He's been helping me in my sleeper league.
I bet. I bet. Did you see there's a rumor saying that he got plastic surgery to make him look older? I died when I saw that.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, bro, he never got wrapped.
He never got what?
Wrapped like his face wrapped.
What is that?
When you get plastic surgery, they wrap your face with bandages.
Oh, like in Drake and Josh.
Yeah, like like have you seen when people get nose jobs, their face are wrapped up?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when you get plastic surgery, it's not like you get plastic surgery, you come out and you're done. No, they have to wrap your face up for like
Yeah, but don't you think he'd get it in the summer?
that's yeah, but they said he got the plastic surgery after the allegations arose. In the middle of the fucking season. Isn't that so stupid?
Yeah, that's funny. People really just forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's moved on.
I know it's just crazy how big of a deal people thought it was.
Yeah.
Get
Either way,
this rapist out of the league.
I got to drop the Cosbys off at the pool.
I don't get the joke, but I
Gotta
I know what you're referring to.
Yeah, so goat life.
Oh, because it's black, little black things,
Brown, but
little brown things.
pieces of shit.
Jeez.
Goat life.
Yeah, Bulls almost blew it.
They did. I saw that game last night. I was watching that game while I was setting up my wires.
Yeah, it would have been upsetting.
Yeah. You see, I got surround sound in my bitch now.
Oh, you're really nice.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
6 speakers.
6 peaks. Nice.
Yeah. All right. Check my story out. I flex
On
it.
what?
Snap.
Uh,
All right. Goat life, buddy.
24. All right. That's it.